Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Lynn. My pronouns are she, her. I live on the traditional land of the Miwok people in the San Francisco East Bay area, and I'm in recovery from alcohol use disorder, anxiety, lack mentality, autoimmune medical conditions, arthritis, childhood trauma, and more. I'm a designated She Recovers Coach Foundation, along with my Reiki partner, Andrea Bernstein, which is where we met. I'm a Holy Fire Lineage Reiki Master Practitioner Teacher and Level 2 Kaliki Reiki Practitioner. My belief is that we recover our wholeness together when we are gathered and supported in community. And my hope is that by recovering out loud, I will help someone else not to die alone and in silence. Andrea, over to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Hey, everyone. My name is Andrea. My pronouns are she, her. I live in Philadelphia, which is the traditional land of the Lenape people. I'm originally from Boston. I am in recovery from alcohol use disorder, disordered eating, anxiety, loss, grief, lots of other things too. My day job is I'm a licensed professional counselor in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I'm a certified professional coach, a She Recovers designated coach, and a Reiki Level 3 master practitioner.
Thanks, Andrea. Excuse me, my voice is really foggy this morning. And this is our lovely guest, Mary Beth, who is a holistic coach, Reiki Master Teacher, family constellation facilitator, yoga instructor, acupressure therapist, and retreat leader. In her practice, she integrates the healing device into sessions, which I would love to know more about. I'm not sure what that is. And her goal is to support and empower you on your unique journey towards balance and well-being. And she is also a She Recovers Foundation coach.
Thank you for that introduction. And I'll just add a few more things just
Yes,
so
please.
people can get to know me. My name is Mary Beth, and I live in York, Maine. And I'm originally from the Boston area. So Andrea and I connect in that area, but it's Danvers, Massachusetts, which is close to where the witches were in Salem. And yeah, so now I'm settled up in Maine. My recovery journey is, I think, attributed to my Reiki. I'm a registered nurse, and I worked at Boston Children's Hospital for over 30 years, and they offered Reiki to the nurses to bring to the bedside in our free time. And I was just intrigued by just energy work. It just kind of like drew me in. And at that time, I wasn't in recovery from alcohol yet. So I think it opened a window because in November of 2016, I got Reiki certified in the summer of 2016. And then in November of 2016 is when I decided to stop. And it was sort of a soft stop, like a soft bottom. It wasn't anything too horrendous. It was just the sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I needed to make some changes in my life. It was the whispers of my soul saying, please stop drinking. And I just was ignoring it for so many years until I got bopped over the head with it. So I literally broke my ankle and found myself immobile and not wanting to have my kids fill my wine glass anymore. So the shame came in. And I realized, wow, this is really an issue for me. Like it just really, the immobility really shined a light on what I needed to look at in my life. So since then, I just have had this spiritual sort of excitement about just following the breadcrumbs, I call it, following the breadcrumbs. So whenever I see something that lights me up, and you can see my resume, like I do a lot of different things, but I kind of incorporate everything into when I work with clients, that everything sort of just kind of dovetails into one another. So let me see, where should I go from there? My
Do you want to tell us what the Healy part is? Because that's something that's a
work.
word that I'm unfamiliar with, but that was part of your bio.
So I'm wearing a Healy device, and in my recovery, what I've found is that we're all energy. So the education of my nervous system and how to manage it and how to help settle things in my body without using substances was really my focus. So the Healy device was introduced to me from one of my mentors, Tammy Roth, who's also She Recovers designated coach. And we just ended up diving into the Healy device. It has a quantum sensor in it, and it can sense my energy field. And then there's an app that can do a resonance analysis on you, and it can deliver back to you frequencies to raise your vibration and let your body do what it magically can do if it's in coherence and in balance. So right now, I also have the Mag Healy, which is a little disc. And I bring this into clients, like I put it underneath my Reiki table. Right now, for our call, I have it set on coherence. So it's just, over the wires and over the waves. We all know Reiki travels distantly, and so does frequencies from Mag Healy. The device it can give distant healing, which is right on target with what Reiki can do as well. So I almost feel like it's Reiki on steroids, it feels like. So I've been using the Healy device with clients and also with myself, right? So what I end up doing is when I learn about these modalities, I do them on myself so that I can speak from that experience and how it's helping me. And I really feel like as a nurse, people listen to nurses because nurses have seen the healthcare paradigm or the sick paradigm, right? We wait till we get sick. And my whole shift after Reiki was, can we look at life through a wellness model? Like, how can we change our lifestyles so that we're not in that sick modality or in that sick paradigm mindset? And it's going to take a while to steer that ship a different way, because I think a lot of us Western cultures just really rely on the healthcare system, which is very taxed at the present moment. So these healing modalities, I feel, are just so important right now.
MaryBeth, thank you for that. I was not aware of that device, and I'm fascinated and I want to learn more about it. What would you tell someone who is new to recovery or new to their healing journey? Where should they begin?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just opening your mind to thinking about life and being in it in a completely different way, right? The thinking that got us into our drinking habits isn't the thinking that's going to get you out of it. So it's almost like a surrender to what was. And I think presently, right now, the collective is feeling a lot of the crumbling of systems and crumbling of things that don't work anymore, right? So things have to shift and things have to change. So I feel like whoever's in recovery right now is at a perfect time to do it, when the whole collective is looking at life in a different way and trying to think of systems and new ways of being in the world. So I feel like just surrendering the old and inviting in the new.
As part of She Recovers, do you only work with women in recovery, or do you work with anyone that's in any kind of recovery? Like, is it just substance use recovery? Is it just women in recovery? Or tell us a little more about your practice and who might be your client.
So, right. So we're in recovery from everything, right? And I actually just taught yoga this morning, and this is what I'm talking about when everything kind of dovetails. I have men in my yoga classes, and I talked today about just like we're all in recovery from something. We all survived a pandemic. We all survived the last election. Like we're all in this together. And however that affects you in any which way, all of these modalities help anybody regardless of gender. Um, but I typically am more female focused because She Recovers was really my launching pad to the coaching and being able to help women in recovery. But I think it's applies to children. Like I work with children. I work closely with my nieces and nephews, and I bring a lot of principles in from recovery into my day with them. And they're like, Auntie, what do you mean about, like peace? What's all this peace? It's really funny. They're really cute. I love kids.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell me a little bit more, whatever you're comfortable sharing, about your recovery journey and your introduction to Reiki?
Sure. So I was introduced to Reiki prior to getting sober. So I feel like a little window cracked, right? So I had that whisper to stop drinking for a while. I was in a family of big drinkers and it was very normalized. And I was in the mommy wine culture. I had 4 children in 5 years, two of them with special needs. And I was looking for a way to numb out, quite honestly. And it was quote unquote acceptable to have wine in the evening. I feel like I was a present mom, but I could have done a lot better. And I think that a lot of times people look back and say they could have done better, right? But when you know better, you do better. And I do have to say that I did it when my kids were in their teen years. And I think that really landed on them because out of my 4 kids, I have 2 that don't drink. They chose the sober lifestyle. And I have 2 that are still finding their way. That I don't think necessarily abuse it, but I think that they are self-medicating with, what they're dealing with presently. Um, but in my recovery, I know I need to take care of my own and not necessarily try to control anybody else's pathways. And I'm just really proud that I did get sober when I did. But my drinking was never problematic in a way that like I missed work or um, I never got a DUI. I did drink and drive, which I have a lot of shame around, especially with my kids in the car, like things like that that were really shameful. But I think it's those shameful moments that uh, make us so uncomfortable that we need to change, right? So I think it was that shame piece that was very important to feel that because it was very important in my recovery.
Yeah, thank you for that. I can definitely relate as a mom. My boys are 17 and 20. And it really has made such a huge impact, I think, on them. It's one of the best gifts I gave myself and one of the best gifts I could have given them because it has allowed them to think about substances in a way that their peers who have had parents who drink just never had those conversations. So I think knowing your history is really powerful.
Right. And I did have an alcoholic father. And he was dropping AA on me when I was little and I never knew it. Like he'd say, don't sweat the small stuff and all of that. But he never talked about his alcoholism out loud. It was always like it was like a very shame um focused recovery. Alcoholics Anonymous, it's like you don't talk about it. You don't talk about it. And I always, when I was at the early stages of my recovery, I was always saying to myself, I wish my dad shared more about his struggles because I would have probably stopped sooner. So my poor kids have to hear me on my soapbox a lot. But I'm at the point now, I'm 8 years in. So I'm not like, I don't like focus on those pieces as much. I just model healthy living and they're watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Glad that you shared this, because I think that the three of us definitely connect and relate on the non-traditional, not hitting bottom, not getting arrested, not losing jobs, not, huge family trauma around choosing sobriety. And I think that people think of people with alcohol use disorders as people who are necessarily like, completely out of control, which that wasn't the case for me either. Went to work every day, took care of my family, did all the things. My liver numbers started going up in lab tests, and I decided to quit drinking. Like, I mean, it was for medical reasons. And, um, you know, I agree with you too that I could have been a better parent to my daughter, and I have a lot of grief and shame about that. Um, and I know that she forgives me, but when you say like they're watching, like now I have a grandson who's 21 months old, and I'm doing this for him. So if I didn't do it, I mean, my daughter was in her late teens when or actually 20, I guess when I stopped. Um, so she only saw a mom for the most part that drank a lot at night. But again, she was cared for. Right? So anyway, I really appreciate you sharing that because I think it's important to talk about the fact that you don't have to hit bottom to decide to be in recovery. And that there are a lot of people out there that are professionals that are just like you, whoever is watching, that you can reach out to. And She Recovers has a great community where you will definitely find somebody that's like yourself and a friend to hang out with if you want. Um, I like to ask, what most surprised you about your Reiki journey? What was like when you started, first, like, I'm going to take this Reiki class and it's going to be this. What what was different? What was like a fun surprise about Reiki in your life?
Yeah, so I want to go back to before I became Reiki attuned. I was actually in the recovery room recovering a baby that came out of surgery just for ear tubes. So it was just a quick mask procedure. They put them to sleep, but sometimes they can wake up really wild. And I say wild, like, they want their parents because they're like, where am I? That type of thing. And they're probably a little confused from the gases.
Sure.
So I had this baby roll out, like, I want to say maybe 15 months old, maybe 18 months old, and side sleeping. And this nurse friend of mine came up and put her hands on the baby's head. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she says, I'm doing some Reiki. And it was like the first time I had heard of Reiki. And I said, okay. Like I was open, like, okay. And then the parent, this is what made me go, aha. So the mother comes in about 5 minutes after the Reiki session was done. And the Reiki was quick. Like it was probably just like 2 to 3 minutes. Um, but what the mother said when she came in, so I usually get the parents back before the babies wake up so that the babies have their mom right there.
Great.
And I didn't want to have any gap in time. And the mother came in and said, "Oh my gosh, he's so centered and calm." And I was like, what? Like, who talks like that? Like, who says their baby is centered and calmed? And I'm like, that mother picked up on the energy that the baby got from the Reiki. And I was just like, wow. And that's why I went and got Reiki attuned because of that moment. So I think that that was my aha because the baby ended up waking up really smoothly, going right to the mother, started nursing, and it was just like the most beautiful, smooth and I had a lot of recovery room experience. So I was like, that was a significant change in the process of how that could have gone. Yeah.
I love it. I always have to remind myself, and Andrea and I joke about it, like this stuff really works. Like I mean, we believe in it, but then there's like these incredible experiences that happen, and it's like, especially with distance Reiki, like we just go, wow, this stuff is just powerful. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Over
sharing that.
Zoom, it's all energy.
Yeah,
Yeah, time and place mean nothing about it, right?
yes, for
And
sure.
as far as myself with Reiki is, again, I felt it was the window to my recovery, but I do self-care Reiki on myself every night as I go to bed. My hands are right on my heart space, and I'm doing all of the symbols and the phrases, and it feels like a real beautiful way of cultivating self-love and self-compassion that I feel so many people have a tough time with. We have a tough time loving ourselves. And Reiki is just a beautiful tool. And when we were Reiki attuned at Children's, the focus of teaching us was for self-care purposes, not necessarily for the patients. They wanted, like, I was really surprised by that. I'm like, oh, you want me to do it on me? Like, am I worthy of this love? And
Mm,
again, it was just that that shift in like always thinking of others before me, as a nurse and as a mother and as a woman in this world, is that we're all geared towards other focused, making sure everyone else is okay before ourselves. And Reiki was that huge shift into taking care of this vessel
Mm.
so that I could be present for my life and for the people I love.
And you're medically Reiki trained. You have like an additional certification or something. I think I saw on your website, right? Or no?
Well, my first Reiki attunement was in a hospital, but it wasn't medically.
It's not medical, it's not the Raven Keys training.
No,
Okay. Are you, so you're a Sui Reiki lineage? Got it.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like you're using the principles. You're using the self Reiki and the principles in your daily life. Is there one principle that really speaks to you?
Um, what's the one about doing no harm to others? Is there one?
Yeah, being kind to every living thing.
Right. Being kind to every living thing. So that one is crazy. I have to tell you that story because I used to have a huge, um, fear of spiders. And when I got Reiki attuned, I was saving spiders everywhere. Like, I'm like, what is happening?
I
And
get it.
I used to be the one that if I saw a spider in the corner of my bedroom, I couldn't sleep that night. And unless I got rid of it. And now I'm just like, he's fine. Like, let him be. So that was a huge shift I mean, I know that feels like something small, but it was a big fear.
It's not
Yeah.
small. I've noticed that too with myself, unless they're Black Widows, in which case
Oh yeah.
Yes,
We
I
don't have those in
agree.
Maine.
I agree. I think that it may seem small, but it's an incredible metaphor for the way that Reiki can help us look at our fears, right? And like you talked about self-forgiveness as a mom and recovery, I think for me the most difficult thing has been in this time that I have not drank or used substances is self-forgiveness and self-love. And that's what Reiki is to me, is love. And so to practice that every day, it's a gift you're giving to you, but you're spreading that light and love wherever you go.
Yes.
Mm.
and you're spreading the light right behind you. I have to just call out the rainbows behind Andrea. She is just
We're really getting me a minute ago, but I think we're
she's
good
just all light and love over there. And speaking of backgrounds, do you want to tell us a little bit about the lovely background that you have there?
Yes. So this is a perfect segue into what I'm doing now, which is my
Yes.
Unstoppable Dream Recovery Circles. And it's based on the principles of Whitney Freya. So she's a woman in Oregon who had the channeling of a beautiful program. And it was based on the shape of the Metatron's cube, which is behind me. It is,
And you painted that.
I painted it freehand. It's kind of
That's
fun.
amazing.
So it's got the six big spheres around it, and then it's got six in the center, and then one in the middle. And there's 13 circles, which I love because that's the feminine number, right? And I feel like we're doing a feminine, in an unstoppable dream, we're doing a feminine approach to recovery, which is a little bit different than what typical 12 step is, very masculine and steps and rigid and rules and anonymity. Like we're talking about a little bit more like right brains, get into some creativity, like painting on your walls. And I know Andrea, you paint, so you get this. But getting into the right brain and start thinking about life a different way, right? Like that thinking I was talking about, the thinking that got you into your issues isn't the thinking that's getting you out. But what we talk about in Unstoppable Dream is the top sphere is love. And then you have compassion, and then courage, and then down here is alignment, and then gratitude and presence.
Wow.
So, what we talk about in those six energies, because we're all about energy and matter, is if you're in one of these energies, it can pull you up and out of a moment when you're feeling triggered. So when you're feeling triggered, if you call in any one of these energies, love, compassion, courage, alignment, gratitude, or presence, then it can help shift you. And then you get a different perspective about the trigger. So we feel like triggers are portals to freedom, and that there are lessons. And it's like, what is this teaching me? How is this here for me? What do I need to keep looking at? Like, what is still going on here? So that's a little taste of Unstoppable Dream. But and again, it goes hand in hand with the Healy frequencies, tending to our energy, right? We're all energy. And the Reiki is right in alignment with that. Talking about alignment right here. So alignment.
How do they find your unstoppable dream? Like, how does somebody sign up for your program?
So the Unstoppable Dream is a free Wednesday call at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays Eastern. And we've made it free to make it accessible for people. It's also the hour before the She Recovers call. So that's also accessible to people that need the support of both meetings. We're very small, it's intimate. We can put the links at the end of the video for it.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we pretty much just have a Google document just to sort of like an intake form to see if it's something that resonates with you, if it's something that speaks to you, all of these words I'm using. Some people might just be, it's flying over and it's not resonating, and that's absolutely fine. You might just not be there yet. But you might watch this in 2 years and say, wow, what's going on in the Unstoppable Dream? So we're here for you. We've been around for 4.5 years, and we're having an immersion starting in January, which is a fee-based immersion. It's 13 weeks, and we're going to admit 10 people to it. And we're going to take a deep dive into the energies, and we're going to incorporate astrology, family constellation, and different embodiment practices to help. And we're going to go through the chakras as well. So we align the chakras with the spheres of wellness, and it all fits. Like it's just beautiful how everything is connected, right? Like the flower of life. All of this sacred geometry, all of these shapes are present in the universe, and it's a container, but within the container is fluidity and expansion. So yeah, that's a little bit about the program.
Thank you for that. I have another question for you. I looked at your Instagram and it says that you are an Aries sun, an Aquarius moon, and a Gemini rising.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now with the Taurus full moon last night?
With the Taurus full moon. Yeah.
Super
So
moon.
what is the moon shining on right now? So it's interesting. I think I'm working with presently some family of origin issues, challenges, as I'm growing and expanding in my recovery. The old paradigms and the way the family worked isn't working for me anymore. And I'm not going to stay small or keep quiet for anybody anymore. And it's not really being appreciated by people that know me and have known me for my whole life. And it's just about stepping into being okay with that. That if there's a little space there, let it be. That my recovery comes first. Yeah.
That's a really powerful message. Thank you for that. I think that was the message I got in my background is in 12 steps. And when I got involved with She Recovers, my recovery really changed. But I think that message of putting your recovery first so that you can have the relationships and have the job and have the ability to incorporate these new ways of healing into your life is really by staying focused on that ultimate goal. So thank you for that.
It's been so great talking to you this morning, Mary Beth, the afternoon where you are. But is there anything else that you want to share around the topic of recovering our wholeness together? So that's the name of this YouTube channel. And I know Andrea and I believe that recovery happens in community. So do you have any last words of wisdom about recovering wholeness that you wanted to share?
Yeah, well, I think if you've made it this far in this video and it resonates with you, I think that you're on the right path. Like, this is a great way of being in the world. And I feel like my purpose was to recover and shine for other people to find recovery. So it has to be through connection. There's just no way you're an island. We weren't meant to be islands. So you can see everything's connected here, and we're connected on this call. And yeah, we have these beautiful uh, technology to bring us together like this. So the world has never seen this kind of connection before as far as for recovery spaces. So welcome in, and we're here for you.
Mm, yeah. Thank you for being such a leader in the recovery movement, especially for women. I love the way you highlight spirituality and creativity, and your authenticity really just shines through. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And thank you,
And
Lynn.
of course. And just I will confidently speak for the three of us to just give a shout out to Don Nickel and Taryn Strong, the co-founders of the She Recovers Foundation, because none of us would know each other if it wasn't for them. So thank you for that. Thank you for the foundation. Thank you for this great sisterhood and this pathway to recovery.
Well
And
said.
that's all I have. Anybody else have any last words?
Yeah, I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to speak with you and for you to share more about your work and just your beautiful energy that we appreciate it so much.
I am definitely looking forward to joining one of I'm not sure which one, but I will join one of them, whether it's the free or the paid immersion. Yeah, for sure.
Good. It was good to be with you
Excellent.
today.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.